Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of June 23rd, 2024. I am going to be giving in-person readings at the first annual Stardust Mystical Faire in Alameda, California on June 29th, that's next Saturday, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. The location is the Breathing Room at 1708 Lincoln Avenue in Alameda. I'll be doing mini astrology readings for $40, and you can add an oracle reading for additional $20. It's going to be first come, first served. There will be other vendors there, including people doing things with crystals and Reiki and all sorts of mystical stuff. And the Breathing Room is a very well-regarded yoga and well-being studio. So I hope to see you there. So a look back at the astrology. Last week was a very Neptunian week where we had the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all squaring Neptune, the planet of illusions and delusions. Neptune rules things like drugs, and Justin Timberlake was arrested for a DUI. And on the day he was arrested, Mercury and Gemini was squaring Neptune and Pisces. Mercury rules cars, Neptune and Pisces alcohol, and he got a DUI. And there's this theme about consequences during this moon cycle. The new moon was conjunct Venus, and Venus rules pleasure, and it was square Saturn. And Saturn delays and brings consequences. And he's in the middle of a world tour, so there could be some problems around that. Neptune also rules compassion and forgiveness. And the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, has pardoned a bunch of people who were put in jail for nonviolent offenses and dealing with marijuana, drug. So you can see that in the astrology as well, forgiveness of these drug offenses. And President Biden signed an executive order that will allow some of the spouses, Venus rules spouses, of citizens who came here illegally and their children, Venus, the spouse, Mercury, the children, to be able to apply to stay in the United States. The theme of this week is Temptation Island, and there are three things I'd like you to think about as we navigate this week. The first is that Venus in Cancer and Mars in Taurus are in a sextile all week. They're going to meet on Friday at 14 degrees of their respective signs. And Venus and Mars are the feminine and masculine principle. You could think about peace and war, love and hate. These are topics that you can think about. Coming together with Venus and splitting apart with Mars. Venus unites, Mars severs and separates. So when they're in sextile, it's an opportunity. So you don't have to make something happen, but it's possible you can. And sextiles in water, Cancer's a water sign, and Taurus an earth sign, are where you can make your own magic. So if you put in the effort and the energy, Mars, then you can magnetize or receive or enable, attract to yourself the things that you desire. Venus and Mars met at 6 degrees of Aquarius on February 21st. So you can go back and look and see what was going on at that time. There may be repeat or something that is related to something that was started around that time, or a conversation you had potentially. Aquarius is an air sign, or some future plans that you were considering, or something around a group could have some next stage in the process as we get to this waxing, which is the energy is growing sextile. You can think about how you can use the power of persuasion to bring people along to what you'd like to do. This can be sexy. It can be like a fairy tale romance. Venus and Cancer can be very romantic. And Mars and Taurus can be very sensual and desiring of physical pleasure. Now, this also can be someone taking advantage of a naive person. Mars is in detriment in Taurus, where it can act in ineffectual and somewhat extreme ways. So keep that in mind. I had written down, like, you met someone at a party and you kind of like them, but not really. They look good at the party. Was it because you were introduced by friends, or it was just the Neptunian air, or is it because you had on beer goggles? For whatever reason, this temptation island, I think, can have something to do with this sextile. It's like, well, do you just keep going along with this relationship even though you maybe don't really want it? The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we are having a last quarter moon at 7 degrees of Aries on Friday, June 28th, 2024. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign, and it's cardinal initiating energy. So you may find yourself getting excited about something that perhaps you want to start. Some people will be in survival mode. The sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Aries, because there are all these like probably storms that are going to be going on across the country as we've now entered hurricane season. So it's a good time to think about, okay, if you live in a place where, the weather's forecast is bad, what do I need to do to prepare? Do I need to get new batteries for my flashlight, or do I need to stock up on supplies? So it's better to do it sooner rather than later if there's any news about bad weather in your location. But Aries can be very courageous, independent, pioneering, and be able to be good in an emergency work, figure things out. You can think about like firefighters and EMT people, emergency room doctors. They can have that Aries energy where, just spring into action to caretake people when necessary. And the sun is in Cancer, a sign of caretaking. Moon is in Aries. Being the hero to someone who needs help can be something that comes up on this moon cycle that you can maybe see in the news or in your own life. This is part of a moon phase family, this 27-month cycles where there can be a pivot point every 9 months. You can use these to set intentions or look back and see how things unfolded. So on March 31st of 2022, there was a new moon at 11 Aries where the sun and moon were both in the sign of Aries. The first quarter moon of this cycle, the sun was in Capricorn, the moon was in Aries, both at 8 degrees on December 29th, 2022. The full moon, sun in Libra, moon in Aries, both at 6 degrees on September 29th, 2023. And here we are at the last quarter moon. So the Aries moon has been activating your chart in the same place over this cycle, but the sun is moving. So there may be, different things that have come up during it. So you can take a look back in your journals to see. But the last quarter moon is a crisis of consciousness and a time to review what has happened over the last 3 weeks, or you can look at these larger cycles and think about how you take action, Aries, to get what you want. Mars rules Aries versus the sun in Cancer. Do you let security, desires for security, wanting to be safe, or just sensitive fears keep you from trying to achieve your goals? So the sun at 7 degrees of Cancer, the tarot card is the Two of Cups. And this is a card of harmony and relationships. The Sabian symbol is a group of rabbits dressed in clothes and on a dignified parade. So this brings to me themes around the Sabian symbol like disguises, acting haughty a bit, putting on airs. Also, you can think about pregnancy and fertility with this. And the moon at 7 Aries is the Two of Wands, so future plans. A woman's hat with streamers blown by the east wind is the Sabian symbol, and hot air balloons, being adaptable to external forces. And with Mars and Venus in sextile, there may be some couples talking about having their first child or expanding their family. With, Sun in Cancer, ooh, I want to be a parent, squaring the moon in Aries, ooh, I want to do my own thing and be independent. So there can be this tension that comes up around this moon cycle about this topic, especially because there was a new moon in Gemini 3 weeks before, and Gemini rules children. So in couples, you can think about how you can balance togetherness and independence, recognize codependency, and think about with Cancer energy is helping a form of action taking to get control over someone else. This could be a great time to do a little shadow work about that theme. Listen to the weather. There could be bad storms because Saturn is stationing at the IC of the USA chart, if you cast the chart in Washington, D.C. So there are likely to be some kind of storms throughout the U.S. in certain areas where, like I said, make sure to pack up. The 4th house in mundane astrology is the land, and the IC starts the 4th house. So when you see a malefic and Mars and Saturn on the malefic at the IC, that can mean there's problems with the weather or the land. And Saturn in Pisces suggests a lot of water, but there's also been some bad fires going on. And with the Sabian symbol about the east wind, makes me be concerned about, fires being fueled by all these air pockets that we've been seeing coming up. So really pay attention to the emergency people, the weather, and if you get an alert to evacuate, I'd highly recommend going. I'm excited to be a faculty member for the Organization of Professional Astrology's retreat in Park City, Utah from October 16th through 21st. I will be teaching a Moon Mastery Intensive over 3 days. This is going to be intimate, where there will be no more than 9 participants. You'll learn everything about the moon and her cycles to deepen your understanding of your natal chart. We will delve into the past, the present, and what's going to be coming up in the future so that you can use the energies in order to achieve your goals. You can also bring a chart of someone else with their permission. If you want to join, do not hesitate. Sign up today because there are limited spots. I would love to be your guide as you deepen your understanding of our beautiful lunar teacher. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Saturn will go retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces on June 29th, that's Saturday, and then we'll back it up to November 15th and go direct at 12 degrees of Pisces. So look at your chart, and especially if you have any planets at 19 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, these are the mutable signs where there be in hard aspect to Saturn going retrograde. So if you have something at 19 Pisces, Saturn will be conjunct. At 19 Virgo, Saturn will be opposite. Oppositions come in from outside of ourselves. It can be a person or a situation. And Gemini or Sagittarius, it's a square. So there may be just some inner tension. Now, retrogrades are an affliction. So a retrograde planet has the potential to cause difficulty, destruction, and the topics it governs will experience delays, reversals, disagreements, and unexpected returns to previous conditions, or like just get stuck. Saturn slows things down. So things that you wanted to move forward may get delayed. And you can think about how Saturn rules work. And so like work projects may slow down. You want to look to see where you have 19 Pisces in your chart, and this can be the place where you experience some delays. For me, my ascendant's at 20 Cancer. And so this Saturn at 19 Pisces, and Saturn's been there for weeks. So you may already have experienced what you're going to be having for this retrograde cycle. And Saturn's boundaries, its restrictions, it can be chronic problems and things like that. And I have it at it's slowing down in a trine to my ascendant. So trines are easy, smooth flowing energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It's like I've just been working hard. But when I traveled to Norwalk, the conference, with my suitcase, when I lifted it up and put it in the overhead bin, it kind of irritated this back injury I have. So, I was then experiencing some back pain for several days. And then I went to a wedding and I'm like, Saturn stationing, in a trine to my ascendant, which is my physical body and vitality. And even though my back feels better, I am not lifting this suitcase up because that could be an indication. And you can think about the bones. Saturn rules the bones and the teeth. That this could be maybe compressing this disc and it really bring back an old injury from 2008 where I had sciatica and whatnot. So I checked my bag. I was not willing to risk lifting it up and re-injuring that because Gemini likes to do things twice. And even though the sun has moved out of, and all the planets have moved out of Gemini except Jupiter, which rules long distance travel, hurting my back twice would be in line with this transit. Hopefully that made sense. So I made the decision, knowing that I have something within a degree of this retrograde, to not take the risk. So be extra careful about your, staying healthy. I know COVID's coming back in certain places. Do not overexert yourself. If you do risk-taking things, I wouldn't be jumping out of airplanes on this day, June 29th. And when a planet retrogrades, it's 5 days before and 5 days after is when you can really feel this energy. Yes. I wrote boundaries down, try again. So that's something I wrote down, stuck in the mud. I almost called this episode Pirates of the Caribbean. And Pisces being a water sign, there could be storms and floods and things like that places. As I said, watch the weather. And Saturn rules structures. So let's see what kind of structures are problematic. I think this might have to do with financial fraud being unearthed. Yeah, Mercury in Cancer is sextile Uranus in Taurus. They're both at 25 degrees. So there could be some big scheme. Mercury takes on the nature of what it's talking to, where someone had smooth talked someone into and got a bunch of money. Also, Venus in Cancer is sextile Mars in Taurus and on a world point at 15 degrees of Taurus. So there'll be big news. It might be overseas, looking at the chart of where it's in the U.S. I was hoping that maybe that boundaries down, try again would be with the power vacuum in Iran. Maybe some of the women and women's groups would try to start pushing against the theocracy again. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 30, 60, or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Ask me a burning question and I'll record a video for you. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is trials. It's a great day to test your emotional self and watch your reactions and be an observer. We start the day with the moon in Capricorn, a sign of responsibility, duty, and it's sextile Saturn. So sextile Saturn and Pisces. This could be like working together in harmony or whistling while you work and appreciating the bounty that you reap from doing work. And then the moon moves to trine Uranus and then sextile Neptune. So there can be a little excitement and compassion. Like maybe you're someone, your child or your boo or someone does something that annoys you with the trine to Uranus, and you can lose it or you can be forgiving. Then the moon enters Aquarius at 8:14 p.m. Pacific time. Aquarius is fixed air that encourages us to take a step back and view things with detachment. Capricorn, the moon doesn't like to be in Capricorn, so it can get a little crabby and critical. And then with Aquarius, let's just step back, take the emotion out of it. But it's conjunct Pluto, so there can be a bit of a power struggle. So you can think about, okay, are we going to work together in harmony, or am I going to be irritated by what you want me to do, take out the garbage or what have you? Or are you going to feel put upon by the responsibility of being in partnership and the thing they do that really irritates you? Now, what you can do with this also is when the moon trines Uranus, you can say something cold. The sextile to Neptune could be somebody starts crying, and then the moon enters Aquarius and they're iced out. Just watch and see what happens, and it's up to you how you make the day turn out, is what I'm getting with this energy. On Monday, the word of the day is trash. Mars in Taurus is quincunx the south node in Libra. They're both at 11 degrees, and Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus and Cancer. So this to me is like, can you think about doing something, throwing out something in the trash that's not good for your health? The south node is a cosmic drain, so you can think about it like a vacuum cleaner or a trash chute. So is there something that can bring more balance into your life? So think about Mars and Taurus. Are you doing something that hurts Mars, your physical body, Taurus? Throw out the cigarettes. They hurt your health. Get rid of some of the sugar, that sort of thing. And quincunx is to move yourself into new situations. So once you get rid of the cigarettes, you'll look and feel better. Libra, look better. Yeah. On Tuesday, the word of the day is windy. We're going to have a disseminating moon at 19 degrees of Aquarius at 5:15 a.m. Pacific time. Disseminating moons are a time to share what you have learned. And maybe someone will share something with you with a lot of excitement. The moon in Aquarius is squaring Uranus and Taurus. They think it's brilliant. They're going on, and it's like they're being windy. And they're like a winding around the bend. When can you get to the end of this story? Could be something that happened. Venus in Cancer is semi-square Uranus and Taurus. So that could be a little bit of a meet cute. Yeah, you're talking to someone in the grocery store at the produce aisle about what seasoning goes best with a beef recipe or something like that. The moon will enter Pisces at 11:07 p.m. Pacific time. With Pisces, there's always a sense of endings. It's a water sign. It's mutable energy. It's a great time to listen to music, get quiet, get into that like dream state with this. On Wednesday, the word of the day is boundaries. Venus in Cancer will square the nodes. So the south node in Libra and the north node in Aries, both at 11 degrees. And this can be a real test because water signs, water needs a container. Water needs boundaries. And with Cancer, the sign of helping and nurturing, and Venus wanting to be liked and appear, attractive and sociable. You can think about what you do, and you may come to a crossroads because of something someone says or does, or something you want to take action on. Do you go to the South Node in Libra and just people please and go along and get along? Or do you have some courage and speak up and assert what you'd like to do? Because Mercury in Cancer is trine Saturn in Pisces, both at 19 degrees. This could also be, you met the person at the produce aisle and they seemed good, Venus sextile Mars. You really like their ideas for how to season the beef. But you go out with them the next day and it's like, I don't know about this. And they lean in for the kiss, Venus. And do you Mercury in Cancer, trine Saturn, and put a boundary and say, I'm not ready for that? Or that because you don't really want it, but you don't want to ruffle feathers? Do you just go ahead and let them kiss you or something like that? You can think about not this exact example, but something of the nature of this could be coming up for you if you have things around 11 degrees of the cardinal signs or 19 degrees of those are in the water signs. Anyway, 19 degrees of anything. So there can be choice points, and it's an opportunity to set a healthy boundary. And it might be something you need to do with your kids. They're trying to butter you up to get what they want, and they just will not stop. Or they just keep doing something. So do you just let them act wild, Mars and Taurus, because it's just easier than to keep fighting with them? Or do you make the decision to stop, set limits, we're going home if you do that one more time or what have you? Yeah, I'll try to remember this with my dog Debo and try to set some healthy boundaries with him on this day because he is extremely stubborn like a Mars and Taurus. On Thursday, the word of the day is stunt. And this is the day of the presidential debate. So we'll see what kind of stunt happens. Yeah, some kind of Uranian thing where there could be some kind of reversal. Mercury and Uranus are in a sextile. Yeah, and I wrote that word stunt down before I realized that was the day of the debate. So look for stunts. The moon will be conjunct Saturn, then sextile Uranus on this day. And at the time of the debate, the moon is in Pisces between Saturn and Neptune. And I feel like we Americans are moving away from Saturn, like disappointment that we are stuck with these two choices, the comeback, the repeat occurrence nobody ever asked for or wanted. And then the moon is moving to Neptune, which is like, I just can't believe this is what we're dealing with. Disillusionment. Maybe people will be crying because like, you just can't believe these are our choices. Are they both these two old men who are both, we'd all be happier if we had some younger, more energetic choices for the president. Well, most people would be happy. But anyway, we got what we got. So it'll be interesting to see this debate. It may just be people maybe just will be asleep because it's so boring. We shall see. On Friday, the word of the day is perhaps. The moon enters Aries at 1:51 a.m. Pacific time. Aries is cardinal initiating energy. Maybe people on, talking about the debate on the morning news will be all fired up and feisty. Then we have that last quarter moon at 2:53 p.m. Pacific time at 7 Aries. If you hear about reversals, because that could be something that comes up, you could also be hearing about the competition and how, I'm very interested to see how this shows up. This may be all about the weather and not about that stuff at all. But anyway, this is a day Venus in Cancer is sextile Mars and Taurus. They're both at 14 degrees of their signs. And if you feel like someone you're interested in or a job you're interested in, it's not really getting anywhere, you can persuade yourself that you're not seeing what you're seeing, but trust your intuition. And if you feel like you're barking up the wrong tree, you probably are. On Saturday, the word of the day is grifters. Mars is at 15 degrees of Taurus, semi-square Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. So 15 Taurus is a world point. Events across this week will get a lot of attention. And Neptune is at the last anaretic degree of Pisces. So I was getting deception with this. This is why it's called Grifters. It's a great movie with Annette Bening about these con artists. I also wrote Pirates of the Caribbean. So something may go on the seas. The Houthis from Yemen who have been attacking ships may make some news. I was thinking this might be something about Haiti, which has been having all kinds of chaos and turmoil. We shall see. Because this is the day Saturn stations retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces at 12:06 p.m. Pacific time. And with Saturn and Mars both active, there's going to be something that gets our attention. And Pisces can be deception. It can be about drugs, seas, oceans, water, that kind of thing, storms. Mercury in the sign of Cancer is sextile Uranus at 25 degrees of Taurus. They're both Mercury and Uranus that are at 25 degrees. With Uranus, we expect the unexpected, and Mercury can destabilize and argue. And Mercury communicates. Uranus is on the fixed star Algol at 26 degrees, so that is a very feared fixed star. But it can also be about women who will not be tamed. I think I forgot to mention, this could be about some kind of reversal Supreme Court thing or court thing about trying to, control women and bring the Handmaid's Tale from the page to reality. We shall see. This could be something about secrets exposed about churches, religious figures, that sort of thing, financial fraud coming to light, or drug companies, or some things I wrote down for this day. We shall see, and it may happen, before this day, because this is a Saturday, a couple of days before, but we'll see what comes up when Saturn stations retrograde. It could be about Earth moving, like dams and stuff like that. Maybe hearing about dams having, springing a leak or something like that. Springing a leak, something leaky, and I think it's about finances. We shall see. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories, or let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.